Maybe you should go and do some contemplating.
Right reasons, right reasons. Being pretty girl for all the right reasons. Right reasons, right reasons. Being pretty girl for all 4 seasons.
I'm the Bachelorette, and I'm rapping to you poolside. Here to find true love.
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Hi, this is Griffin McElroy.
And this is Rose Buddies.
This is Rose Buddies. It's a podcast where we talk about the Bachelor and Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise. Got away from me there at the end, didn't it? I got so excited for Bachelor in Paradise, didn't I?
You did.
Sorry, I spent a lot of time in Burnet, Texas. Our neighbors to the east.
Is it east? Is that right?
Yeah, you go out 71 east, you take that road. You're going to go past the airport, and you're going to stay on it about 30 to 35 minutes, depending on your speed of travel, of course. End up in Burnet, Texas.
I don't think that's a Texas accent you're doing.
Yes, it is. It's me. I'm from Texas. So in that one sentence, there was Texas, there was Minnesota, there was Bjork, wherever she's from, Iceland. Tell me about this episode today, because it was terrible, I thought. It's funny, because I feel like I've been selling, like, a terrible episode's a-coming, and last week it didn't come, and then this week I feel like it was here.
I love hometowns. I love hometowns so much. Usually it's my favorite episode every season.
Really? Really, dog?
For sure. We've talked about this before. I love meeting the families because what you see every week is a very polished contestant. And what's nice about hometowns is you get to meet their families who often aren't so polished. But this week,
I'm going to
everybody...
say 3 out of the 4 families were a bunch of phony jabronis.
Yeah. Everybody seemed very camera ready. I mean, not that they were all, you know...
Oh, they were all super sexy, like super duper
They weren't all
wet.
drop dead gorgeous, but they just seemed very poised.
Yeah, so hometowns, if this is your first season, once we get down to the final 4, the Bachelor or Bachelorette goes to the hometowns of each of the remaining contestants. That contestant plans a date, has a sit-down sesh with the family. The family either approves or doesn't approve. They trade off, the Bachelor will talk to the family, the contestant will talk to the family, and then there's usually a tearful goodbye. Or a confrontation. And then...
Yeah, so you all remember JoJo's season. JoJo had, like, the ultimate eventful hometown.
Yes.
In that her mom drank wine out of the bottle, and
Fucking incredible.
her brothers basically verbally attacked Ben.
Yeah, it was so great. That was a really good one, actually. I'm thinking back on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember who... Kyla 001 was in the final 4.
Yeah.
JoJo was in the final 4.
And Lauren B.
Lauren B was in the final 4. I would give you $100 out of my wallet if you could tell me who the 4th one was in the final 4.
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, it was, I don't know, didn't really do it for me. And I'll tell you why. I just don't really... Well, okay. I spent most of the episode just not giving a shit about any of these rat bags. But then at the end, what'd they do? They took it and they twisted it and turned it on me, didn't they?
Yeah, so also what happens this week is you have to drop down to 1 player. So if you're
Depending on the size of your league,
Well,
it might
but
have
it
to
makes
happen
sense to me if you're doing Fantasy League, no matter
Yes.
what, to drop down to 1.
Just a quick score update. We thought we were killing it.
We
but,
did.
Apparently we were in second place, and the team that was in first place took Jordan, who we also had. So, like, we kind of had to default to it, because if we also took Jordan, we guaranteed lose.
So we had to put our future behind Luke.
Which I feel okay about.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, okay. Let's get into the episode.
Okay.
Who we kicking things off with?
We start out with Chase.
No, see, like, I actually knew who it was that was kicking things off with. I just couldn't remember his name or his face or anything about him.
Yeah. You know what was funny was that we start out with Chase on a mountain, and our friends were talking about how he looked more attractive on a mountain, and we all made the point that it's because there is nothing else to compare him to. He finally...
So floating in a vacuum.
Yeah. In a completely vacant space, he looks attractive because there is nothing else to look at.
There's probably some scientific principle that fuels that theory. Like, the light is sucked away from him by other objects, but because snow refracts the light, like, you can finally see Chase for what Chase is. Can I say something? Chase has been in a couple of the, like, post-show bloopers, and in those, there's, like, some personality there, and it's the only time where I felt like I've known anything about Chase up until this point, because one of the big angles of Chase's day, and this is something that I've been watching now for a few years, many seasons, and I can't think of a hometown where the contestant was a child of a divorced family, where they went to two different family outings. And maybe it's happened before Ben Flajanic's season, but like I don't think it's happened before. And they've certainly never talked this candidly about divorce.
I don't know if usually, well, I think in past seasons, either the divorced parents still come together for the hometown because they're on good terms, or just one parent is totally out of the picture.
According to Chase, it was a really bad divorce. He said there were lots of lawsuits and that the parents just like don't see each other. His dad, he says, is very important to him, but he doesn't see him that often.
Yeah, and his dad apparently hurt his mother very much in the divorce.
Yeah, so they hung out with dad first, and what all of our friends pointed out was the model home from Arrested Development, essentially.
They really accentuated it because there's a staircase right by the front door, and the staircase is without
handrails.
Without handrails, without any kind of carpeting or finishing on the stairs, and they're standing at that front door for a long time, and you just spend all your time, because it's Chase, looking at the stairs.
It's seriously, no kidding. Go back and watch it. It is literally the house from Arrested Development. Like I was half expecting Tobias Funke to like come down the stairs and fall down them.
Yeah, so we meet his dad. His dad, and I don't know if it was just the sound system we were watching on.
Holy shit.
His dad is so muffled. And Chase is muffled too, but his dad, we had a difficult time picking out particular words.
And it's not that he wasn't, this is going to be really difficult to describe. It wasn't that he was mumbling. It was that his voice was so deep, it was vibrating the television every time he talked, so we couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah. Can you do like an impression of it?
Maybe if I put myself behind something like,
well, your mother and I, hold on, let me try again. Your brother and I, we worked really hard in our relationship, but it just didn't.
I mean, you're laughing at him describing his divorce, so what's so funny about that, Rachel?
I'm laughing because you're speaking into a small video.
Case of Nintendo 3DS cartridges.
Yes. Well, you could probably tell that when you listen to the audio.
Yeah.
I bet some of our fans.
Is that
at
Mario
home.
and Luigi Paper Jam vibrating? I knew. Yeah, his dad kind of, I would say, like, maybe threw himself on the sword a little bit.
Yeah, it was a weird thing, and it must have been motivated by the producers, because Chase, JoJo, and Chase's dad sit on the couch, and Chase, what seems like the very first thing he says to his dad is like, so what happened with mom?
And his dad is basically just like, yeah, I goofed it up, and probably goofed up my son a bit too in the process. And in fact, JoJo actually asked him on the mountain, like, do you think that's why, like, you don't exhibit any emotions or opinions or any
or interests,
like,
or
and he's like, oh
expressions.
yeah, that's actually exactly it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So they have a quick hang session with the dad and then go to the rest of the family.
The dad tells Chase, yeah, she's got a real head on her shoulders. About JoJo.
I don't know what that means.
Yes. Didn't even say like a good head on her shoulders, as the expression typically goes. Just she has a head, and
it's right there.
Sits on a neck that is attached to her shoulders.
The rest of the family included Chase's sister and her husband.
Yeah, so nighttime belongs to mom. They go to mom's house.
The night belongs to mama.
Oh, I should say that the dad is remarried and the mom is also remarried. And so when they go to the mom's house, it's his sister and his sister's husband, his sister's son, and what I called new dad.
New dad, who did not get much camera time, by which I mean literally none.
No, we spent a lot of time with Sandy, which was his mom.
Him and Sandy had some nice interactions. They both elicited a single tear from each other.
Yes.
At which his mom seemed really disappointed by.
His mom goes on to say, that she's so proud of him and, that he's the most amazing son, and one tear falls out of his eye.
And she's like, you suck that tear right back up into that duct.
Yeah, she said something like, this isn't our style.
Crying.
Yeah. I made the joke that after that one tear, Chase had to recuperate for 48 hours and drink a gallon of water.
Yeah,
just
he had to like slam a Gatorade
just
right
to
then.
rehab from that one moment of expression.
If you had captured it in a crystal vial, you could have drank it to dispel any poisons.
Or save all the petals from falling off the rose.
Mm-hmm. That one too. It's weird because his sister said the same thing. Like, we don't really have emotions or talk about them at all. I wonder if that's why I find Chase so like unmemorable, or if it's just that I don't know.
Well, he just doesn't ever seem especially excited or upset or
When he was talking about like
amused.
coming from a family of divorce and like how difficult it was for him, I was like, I think this is actually the first thing I actually know about
Yeah.
Chase. This is and it's a horrible thing to say, but like it's the first like foothold I got in Mount Chase. Because like I didn't know, I couldn't have told you literally anything about him up to that point.
Well, I mean, think about how much we know.
What's his job? What was his job?
It probably tells us at the bottom of the
This
screen.
is what I'm saying, but we don't even bother to look. I'm not saying he's a bad dude or whatever. I'm just saying like, and maybe it's just all been in the edit. Because like I said, some of those bloopies, he's real fun.
Well, and it's not like we know a lot about the other guys, but when I think of the other guys, I can kind of figure out why she's into him, or into the guys in particular. But with Chase, it just seems like she must be attracted to him. Like, I can't think of another thing she has to grab onto there.
Who next though? Was there anything else that happened on this date? They traded the usual
yeah, the only
smooches.
thing I wrote down, because we found it funny, is his mom is kind of debriefing with Chase on her impressions. And about JoJo, she says, JoJo loves dogs, hates fish. As if that was like,
get it.
I don't know how that came up, but his mom seemed to like that about her.
I will say, wherever they were was the most romantic place I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, the
It's somewhere
house.
somewhere in Colorado, so it's like all snowy and nice and pretty.
And they had this little outdoor, like, ski lift turned into a bench that they were sitting on.
Yeah, it looked really nice. We gotta get to Colorado, babe.
I know. Well, I know why you want to go to Colorado.
Why is that, babe?
Chiefin'.
Oh, I get it. Chief and the Dubers.
Yeah.
I could also, then why don't I want to go to Washington or, any of the other places where that's legal? Maybe I like.
Well, you're also a big snowboarder.
I love three things: getting high and snowboarding while listening to John Denver. Is John Denver from Colorado?
I was just going to say, you're making a leap there.
Is he from Colorado? Because his name is John Denver.
I think that's...
Probably not, right?
Yeah, I don't think that can be true.
Hey, but for real though, can I tell you something, my bride? I've thought that my whole life. Like
Really?
I've always thought of like, Jimmy Buffett is from Florida. Duh.
From Buffett, Florida.
No, it's just like he is Florida. He's a human manifestation of the state of
Okay,
Florida.
okay.
John Denver is from Colorado. Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Oh, I'm desperately trying to think of somebody
Oh,
right now.
me too. George Washington was from Washington, obviously. That one's an easy one. That one's a.
I thought we were just doing singer-songwriters.
Oh, okay.
Michael Jackson was from
Jackson,
Mississippi. Yeah.
That one's good. I think that might be it.
Paul Simon was from, Simon.
There's probably a city called Simon somewhere.
Yeah.
That was it for Chase.
Chase. I genuinely forgot too.
I did too. I had a few beers. Next up, though, was Jordan. Jordan, you old
Jordan
reliable.
currently lives in Nashville, but we go to his hometown of Chico, California. And what do? First thing, we go to his high school.
Of course.
Much like Ben. Didn't we go to Ben's high school?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, so he played for the Pleasant Valley Vikings. And we meet his JV football coach. We meet his Spanish teacher. They go to the library and they kiss. They go to the gym and look at pictures of Jordan as a football player up on the wall.
So they also referenced but did not show pictures of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, JoJo gestures towards one wall that's off camera and says, "Oh, isn't that your brother?" And Jordan's like, "Oh, yeah." And that was it. We didn't get to see the
This
picture.
was the date where, like, I feel like JoJo is trying to get this thing to come to bear, like this Aaron Rodgers thing, and really like address it. And when she brought that up to Jordan to like pre-brief herself before going to meet the family, man, it was maybe their tersest, most uncomfortable, most Jordan shutting shit down interaction yet.
Yeah.
Where she was like, so Aaron like isn't going to be there. And he's like, yeah, he won't be there, but it won't. Like, he kept, like, trying to get one sentence ahead of her, and
They're sitting out on the bleachers outside of the high school, and she, like, tries to bring it up again, and he says, quote, it doesn't need to be a topic.
It doesn't need to be a topic. Yeah. It doesn't need to be a topic. He just, like, said it, like, over and over again. And he was like, oh, it won't come up. I'll tell them that I told you about it, though.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is happening in this family? Our friend Chris thinks that this is all... conspiracy theory that there's been some. I mean, I haven't done too deep a dive on the Bloids since this big revelation.
Yeah, me neither.
But he says that there's been some social media pictures of like him and Aaron just like training together, like hitting the gym.
Yeah, I think Chris saw something on Jezebel that made it seem like this is all a big hoax and that Jordan and Aaron are actually close. But then there's also information out there saying that, like, Olivia Munn has driven some kind of wedge in their family. I mean, there's any number of things. Aaron Rodgers has yet to comment on it.
He tweets weird things during The Bachelor. Do you know about this?
No, I don't. I will also say when they do get to the Rodgers home, they're sitting near a family photo, and there's a face blurred out, and we couldn't decide if the blurred out face was Aaron, and that they had decided to remove him so much from the episode that they weren't even going to show his face in a family photo.
He tweeted at the fictional Twitter account for Shooter McGavin, who is, of course, I'm pretty sure the golfer from Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. About something about going to Sizzler. While his brother was on national television dragging his fucking name through the mud. It's like, bro, you turn on the TV, bud. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yo, A-Rod. Put it on channel 8, dog. I want to tweet at him, just be like, bud, put it on ABC right now, dude.
Well,
because your family's on TV, and they're talking mad shit about you, dog. And you're tweeting about Sizzler with a fake fictional Twitter account from a movie character that Adam Sandler did.
From what I can tell, JoJo never talks to the parents about it, really. She does talk to Jordan's brother.
Luke, whose name is also Luke, which is very confusing.
Yeah, his name is also Luke. And he says something... He says something like, we don't talk about it.
Can you imagine if, like, Justin or Travis was on The Bachelor and saying, like, oh, we don't talk to Griffin anymore... Not since he stole our family's diamonds and sold them for crack and then gave the crack to kids.
That would be more of an explanation,
but then the whole time I was tweeting like, dude, I just watched the craziest diners, drive-ins, and dives.
That would be more of an explanation, though. Like, if they gave any kind of acknowledgement as to why this rift had occurred. So we meet his mom and his brother and his dad. And I mentioned she talks to the brother a little bit about...
Is his other brother not a footballman?
I don't think so. There's never been any suggestion that he played football.
That must have been a fucking horrible rearing.
Yeah, right? Like, let's get into that rearing.
I want to know more about Luke, the false Luke.
But Jordan has a lot of confidence in Luke's opinion, says that Luke reads people really well. And Luke seems pro JoJo.
Can I be honest with you? This was the part of the date I didn't really watch very well. Because for my friends,
oh yeah,
baby,
for your friends, what did you make?
For my friends,
what did you make tonight?
I'm
Griffin?
glad you asked what I made for my friends. No big deal, just a blueberry cobbler. And put a little bit of Jenny's ice cream, a little bit of lemon blueberry buttermilk ice cream on the side with a cobbler. Sweet buttery cobbler on the side. That's what I made for my friends.
It was delicious. Everybody raved about it.
Everybody kept raving about it, and they did it in like a waterfall where somebody would be like, that was really good. And I said, thank you. And then somebody else would be like, that was really good. Like, thank you. And I feel like they were harassing me. But for my friends, I'll allow myself to be harassed. I don't think I like Jordan Rodgers anymore.
Hey, Griffin, though, that cobbler.
Thank you, baby.
It was really good.
Thank you. I don't think I like the contestant on The Bachelorette, Jordan Rogers, anymore. I feel like I didn't like him for a while because I thought he's like the weirdest person ever when confronted with anything. And then I started to like him more because I thought he was funny and charming. And now I think he's the like really, really a big weirdo when confronted with any sort of friction whatsoever.
Yeah, at the end of the day, JoJo brings up the point to us, the viewer, that Ben, like Jordan, told her everything that she wanted to hear, and that still didn't result in her, getting the relationship. And so she just still seems kind of skeptical of Jordan. And he even goes the extra step to comfort her when she's leaving and saying, don't doubt this.
And she's like, well, I'm just scared of being hurt. And then as she's driving away, he does this little monologue of just like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to tell her.
Yeah.
Well, you can calm down.
It's like, how it seemed like they had so much chemistry at the beginning. Now it just seems like there's this weird assumption that they're going to end up together, and neither of them is particularly excited about it anymore.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
It's just like, oh, well, I guess this is it for us. I guess we're getting ready to start a relationship.
But also, not only that, I didn't care for this date so much because Jordan is like this big pseudo-controversial figure, right? And this was the most boring date by like...
I hate when people bring a contestant back to their high school.
It is so telling. Look at all the pictures of me that there are on the walls.
It's like, this town is bullshit. You know where I'm going to bring you? The place that made me who I am.
Your high school?
Like, is there nowhere else to go in your town?
Wasn't it like a skate park you used to like get drunk on 40s with your like 18-year-old friends
well,
with?
Plus, like, you're in your mid to late 20s now. Did nothing in between happen that seems also telling about who you are as a person? Like, is this...
It's so, not only that, it's like the first person you meet is Coach.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying...
And
like,
JV Coach, too.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that, like, sports can't be... Of course, sports is, like, a hugely influential thing to your upbringing or whatever. And if that really is, like, the biggest thing you got going for you, that's fine, but, like...
Well, and I can't decide, does Jordan want to seem like more than a footballman? Or does he recognize that's the biggest thing he has to offer?
Do the producers of The Bachelorette want him to seem like more than a footballman? Because they plan no fewer than 3 fucking football dates.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I am definitely less excited about Jordan. I mean, granted, he is...
I feel like we're all just getting force-fed Jordan. Like, everyone is just, like, force-feeding us Jordan with this weird glaze of, like, his strained relationship with his extremely famous brother. And that's a hard sell. And I don't know that there is a way to sell it.
I started to wonder if I'm really curious about it. Usually at this point they start grooming who the Bachelor is going to be. And, I had kind of speculated, if Jordan doesn't win, maybe it's Jordan. But I almost feel, either they're setting up this family drama so that we can explore it more in his season of The Bachelor, or they're just trying to get us to cool on Jordan because he doesn't win and they want us to get over it.
I mean, here's where I'm at. I think Jordan is of no entertainment value to anybody if he wins this season of The Bachelorette. I'm going to go out on a limb right here and say Jordan does not win this season of The Bachelorette. If he is chosen by JoJo, he walks away from it, or something. Something happens that will keep Jordan from winning.
Why do you say that?
I think he's got humongous potential and wants to cash in on the potential of being the next Bachelor and being on television for another season and being the focal point of another season of television. I'm saying that has to be the logic of what's... Because, so what? Like, Jordan wins, and then, like, they date for 2 months, and then split up?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it'd be such a potentially explosive season, because women would come from all over the country and get really excited about him being the Bachelor.
Yeah, for sure. He'd look good on the front of a magazine. It's just, like...
But I just like him less and less.
I know.
We can't be the only ones.
It's because, like, you and I fucking hate that, like, I don't like being... I'm totally understanding that this show is, reality...
He's the anti-Wells.
There's a reality writer behind it, right?
Yeah.
That is, like, not so much telling them what to say, but coordinating the events in a certain way. And like we understand that, and sometimes I think that's delightful if it is coordinated in a way that is amazing, or like the show gets away from those coordinators and you have to like watch them scramble to try and put something back together. That's fine. But this is just fucking lazy. Like to put it in non-reality television show terms, Jordan, everything that is happening to Jordan right now, ultimately ending in his ascension to the throne of the next Bachelor, is lazy fucking writing.
Yeah.
And that's what we had. Like,
No,
that's what it
that's
is
very
now.
possible. They spent a lot of time building the love story, and then they felt like, okay, that's done. Now I guess we should focus on the other guys to make it seem like he has some competition, and they just stopped doing anything for Jordan.
Yeah. I don't know. I could give a shit.
Anyway, let's get on to Robbie in
The one
Florida.
we've all been waiting for.
In Florida, Robbie, with his Florida ensemble and his Florida lifestyle.
And is Florida horse and buggy? What?
Yeah. Yeah, the date opens with him asking JoJo to whistle, and when she does, a horse and carriage shows up.
That's what they have for Uber in Florida. He takes
They
her
ride in the
around.
horse and carriage.
Where are
and
they? Saint Lauderdale?
Well, they start out in St. Augustine, and they end up
Augustine.
in Jacksonville. I guess the proximity is reasonable.
Named for Randy Jackson. We already did a Jackson one.
We did.
Damn it.
You and I both noticed that when they were sitting in that horse and carriage situation, their hands were very close to his genitals.
His ding dong, like really tugging feverishly at it.
He like was holding her hand, but strategically holding her hand in his crotch.
Over those Robbie nuts.
Is that like a guy's trick that you learn?
It's a pervert's trick, yeah, for sure.
that you learn. Like, I'm going to get this girl to hold my hand, and I'm going to put her hand.
Maneuver it
in the
towards the
spot.
business. No, that's a sex. That's like not good. That's not a good thing to do.
No,
Like ethically, morally, legally,
legally.
it's really bad. But I don't know.
And then they go to a restaurant on the water, and this is when JoJo is going to dig into the breakup that he had very recently.
Very recently, y'all. So, what was the time? Like, at what point of the year? Like, what month was this? Were hometowns being filled? It is July right now. Realistically, like what?
Well, there's
April?
snow in Colorado. Is there always snow in Colorado?
Yeah, in certain places.
Okay.
It's July right now. It could not be any earlier than April, right?
Yeah, okay.
April to May, let's say. This is grim. The only time that I can think of that we have an absolute definitive pin was the season where the guy died. The guy died in the hang gliding accident.
Yeah.
Because we found out about that.
Was that Caitlin's or no?
It
Andy?
was-
It was Andy.
I can't remember.
I think it was Andy's season.
Evan was I cannot remember the guy's name
No,
either.
I
feel
don't remember.
Eric? I think it might have been Eric. But he passed away in a hang gliding accident, and he had been on the show very, very recently. And so we found, like, America found out about it because this guy died. And then there was a period of, like, 4 or 5 weeks, right? Like 4 or 5 episodes. And then they found out about it on the show.
Yeah, it was a big special episode.
So maybe it's even less time. Maybe it's like a month and a half or so. Like maybe 2 months behind.
Yeah, I
is
don't
where they
know.
are. He says at this point, where these hometowns are being filmed, that it had been 4 months since his relationship, right?
I
So
thought it was 3 months.
regardless, like
But yeah.
that relationship ended, and then the show fucking started.
Yeah, thinking about the casting process, it's
The casting
hard,
process has to take a month at the very least, right? And
It's
even
hard
that
to
seems
believe
crazy.
that he didn't begin the casting process before he had broken up with his girlfriend. That's what it seems like.
like to send in the VHS, tape.
VHS.
They talked more about the timetable later on, but it's like it is mind boggling to think about. Like, because he's like, no, I didn't break up with her for the show. It's like, are you sure, dog? Because like math tells me that you maybe did.
Yeah, Robbie keeps saying, oh, it's very much a part of my past and it's staying there. And she's like, yeah, but it's so recent.
It's not the past, bud.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's not going to come up. It's not going to come up. And so she doesn't exactly seem satisfied by this. And so, of course, it comes up again several
Later on,
times.
yeah.
But we go to his house. We meet his mom, his dad, who he calls Coach Hayes.
That's good. That's just good, clean fun.
His two sisters and his two brothers.
He says
So
the most upsetting thing.
It's a big family.
He says, I love to watch JoJo interact with my family. I find it so attractive.
Yeah. Did you find it attractive when I met your family?
Yes, this attracts me, I said, as you shook my brother's and dad and stepmother's hand. Yes, I am attracted.
Yeah, shake their hands slower is what you said. And you
That's what
said that, and I
said.
thought it was weird. It's like, why is he saying that?
Salutate one another. Yes. Make small talk. Yes. Pass her the mustard. Pass that dirty mustard.
Oh. No.
Yes.
No.
Scoop her out some potatoes. I'm attracted to all of this. Tell her your parents' names. I'm attracted.
Is that a horse, Winnie? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right. So they drink out of these big plastic goblets of
these
wine.
are so good. So
which are fun.
I think those were Tervis tumblers. My dad and grandmother on my dad's side were obsessed with these cups called Tervis tumblers. And they were just little cups that had like a cup inside of a cup, and it was like see-through, so you could see through it, and the like inner chamber in between the two cups was vacuum sealed, and so it like kept your drinks colder longer.
Oh.
I think that's what it was, except they're these like weird goblet versions of it. And I think it makes sense because I think Tervis tumblers are made in Florida. Really
Wow.
unpacked a lot there. This show is brought to you by Tervis tumblers. We don't own any. We might. I think I might have gotten rid of the couple that I had. But they keep that ice in there going forever.
You should keep your vitamin water zero in there.
Yeah, I'm working on Vitamin Water Zero. We have like a good to like break down my relationship right now with my beverage. Like, I feel like things are going really well between me and Vitamin Water Zero. Last week I met Vitamin Water Zero's brother, which was like a pink lemonade Vitamin Water Zeros with like strawberry flavors, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, things are going well. We didn't have that like instant spark that I had with Super. I should put the bottle outside if I'm going to talk shit about it. But like with Super Water Zero, it was just like all passion, all like it was just burning white hot.
It was your Luke.
It was my Luke, yeah. But then Luke's family killed him. By which I mean HEB canceled the product that I adored so much. Tell me about Robbie's family. Like how? Like what even are they?
Well, so JoJo talks to Robbie's mom and talks about how Robbie wears his emotions on his sleeves, and how she likes that about him. And his mom goes to Robbie after their convo and says, "Hey, Robbie, I think you should know that there's this rumor out about your ex."
Oh, can I say one thing about JoJo and Robbie's mom's conversation?
Yeah.
JoJo tells Robbie's mom that she's falling in love with Robbie.
She does, you're right.
And that's buck wild. Because you're not allowed to do that to the contestants, right? Even though Ben did it to JoJo and Lauren B. last season.
It was very convenient because I didn't think that Robbie had a shot at all until that moment happened. And then I was like, oh.
I was like, yeah, what?
Well, maybe.
It was so weird because it's the first thing we've gotten from JoJo with mentioning her like affection towards these boys in like no uncertain terms, and like she laid it all out on the line for the mom, which to me seems like an even rougher maneuver than just telling the contestant outright. Because now you're getting the family involved in like a real big way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I would rather tell a contestant like, I think I'm falling in love with you, than tell their dad like, hey, I think I'm falling in love with your son. And then, like,
Yeah.
a week later, be like, I guess not. Oops.
Yeah, that's a big move.
Yeah, it was weird. Okay, anyway, the rumors, the bloids.
Anyway, so, and it's unclear what motivates, like whether there's a tabloid out at this point or something on the internet at this point that his mom has seen, but his mom says, oh, you should know that there's rumors out there about you having broken up with your ex to go on the show. And she's like, we know that's not true, but I just wanted you to know that.
I feel like they didn't even say rumors. Like, this season has been the season of them not knowing how to handle the fact that people are talking about this show outside of the show. Except for the one episode where they did literally pick up a bloat while they were all getting their haircuts and, like, confronted JoJo about it, which was, like, very meta. But this, like, I think that's what bothers me the most about this Aaron Rodgers thing is, like, they have to tiptoe around the fact that this is a television show and that there's real things happening in the world and that, like, everybody knows who Aaron Rodgers is. And this was the same situation where they were just like, there's just something out there. But they can't say, like, there's been rumors in US Weekly, in People, in...
It's usually called Us Weekly.
I do that every fucking time. That's like the third time I've done that on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of cute, though. I like it.
But they're covering the Americas.
There's something out there on PEOPLE magazine.
Well, I'm not an imbecile. Of course it wouldn't be called that.
Yeah, it just smacks of producer involvement. It just seems like so weird. Like, oh, my son's in town with this woman he's dating. I'm going to pull him aside and I'm going to tell him this specific
drizzling
thing.
with bloat.
Yeah. But Robbie gets really upset about it, and so he leaves the conversation with the mom and goes interrupts sister chat with JoJo on the bed and says, I need to talk to you.
I would have loved to be a fly in that Turvis tumbler.
What, in sister chat?
In sister chat, just sisters talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Robbie gets very, very defensive. Just like gets very and very, very quiet. Like
Robbie shares what he calls chatter.
Yeah.
About this ex's roommate.
There's been a little bit of scuttlebutt, and I know that you've been upset by this flim flam in the past, and so I just really wanted to get out ahead of it.
And so JoJo's like, it scares the shit out of me. All I have is my trust. And then she's like, come forward now. Did you break up with her to come on the show? Just tell me now. And Robbie says, no.
Okay, he doesn't exactly just say no. What he says is our relationship ended 9 months ago and it just kept going. So it's like, okay, I totally, I get it. He explains that, they got in an argument and she slapped him. And, that their relationship had not been the same after that, which, yeah, I totally get. But it also introduces this new timeline of, okay, so there were 9 months. That actually makes way more sense. Did you, put in the tape during that 9-month period?
Yeah. That's what it sounds
like.
If
you did, if it was just I was in a relationship that I realized was bad and I thought I needed to change. And so, yeah, I put in the application tape thinking it wasn't going to happen. But then when I did, I thought it was a sign. And I thought, this is my opportunity to get out of this abusive relationship and into something much healthier. Fucking say that. Say that.
I know. And that's the thing about Robbie is that it always seems like he's holding back, And so she continues to be a little bit suspicious. And he, even though he always denies it, never really makes her feel better.
What's weird is I think there's something romantic to, if that's the truth, I think there's something sweet about that.
Yeah.
I was in a shit relationship, and so just on a whim, I tried out for this show, and then when I found out I made it, I left this horrible relationship and just thought I'd give this a chance, and it worked out. Look at us. That's really romantic.
Yeah.
Say it. If it's true, say that. If that's the situation, say it. I don't get it, man. I don't get Robbie. I do not get Robbie. He both times that he talked about this ex with her, he got really terse, Jordan terse.
Well, and JoJo makes this great point because she's like, when I came out of a 4-year relationship and presumably went on The Bachelor myself, she's like, I wish I had taken some time for myself, to really process what had happened. And it just seems like Robbie gets so defensive and uncomfortable. It's very clear that hasn't happened for him either.
Yeah.
He hasn't figured out how to feel about it.
That's a weird thing that happens sometimes on this show where it's undeniably real and bad. The thing that has happened to this person is genuinely real and bad. And it's not play acting for the cameras, and it's not a producer cajoling the situation. Robbie is still very, very upset about this thing. And it's not a make believe story time thing. He's very upset about it. And I don't know. It's weird to watch the producers try to produce their way around like what is essentially like a real, I don't know, rough thing that happened to this real person.
Yeah. So she leaves Robbie's town, and they seem to have kind of patched things up.
Yeah.
But we're still not sure how much that interaction impacted her and her feelings about him.
Yeah. So far we've seen 3 families that have been like they've been fine. The only thing I liked up to this point was Chase's like little moment with his mom. That was genuinely very sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice to see Chase have a human emotion. But I will say, yeah, there's no loose cannons. There's no colorful family members. There's no, inappropriate moment.
Yeah.
Just pretty basic stuff.
And then we get to Luke.
And then we go to Burnett, Texas to see Luke.
Just down the road, 40 minutes down off 71.
You're really tapping into something, I think.
Rachel and I basically got married in Burnett.
That's not true.
Basically.
In Pastrip.
Oh, shit. Oh, this whole time I've got it completely confused,
Griffin.
haven't I?
Yes.
Dang it. Where's Burnett then?
That's what I was asking you.
Oh, shit, birds. Fuck. Probably like West Texas, right?
I don't know. It's not far from Central Texas because I feel like it shows up on highway signs when we're driving.
Yeah, Burnett, Texas. It's about 45-minute drive northwest of here. All right, I was wrong. Okay, nobody's perfect.
Oh, there it is. So we see Luke. He's walking down a railroad track.
We see a shot of a train moving, and then we see a shot of Luke walking down a railroad track, which is maybe the clumsiest edit of the season, because everybody in the room, like, instinctively was like, no, Luke!
Get out of the way!
Move!
JoJo comes out wearing her denim and her boots.
The boots that he gave her.
Yeah, the boots that he gave her, which I didn't even make the connection at first,
Yeah,
but I thought
didn't
was
either.
sweet.
And then they have just like what do they do first? They just like get in a truck and drive around for
They
a bit,
quote,
right?
stroll around the square in Burnett, Texas, and then they get in a big truck and drive up on the grass to an outdoor picnic. It's like a season out of
the outdoor
Unreal.
picnic, like the family is there, so like the date is come hang out with my family and literally everybody that lives in
Yeah,
Texas.
we find out his mom, dad, sister are there, and quote 50 friends.
And I loved it, man. I was so charmed by it. Like he knew everybody at that party and like went through just like explaining like who everybody was to her. He sat down with the dad of the year.
Yeah.
Such a good daddy.
Just a sweet old dad in a cowboy hat, just sitting on a porch talking to his son about
just
love.
like talking to him about like how he knew when like he was traveling a lot for work, and one time he traveled and he didn't come back for a while, and when he came back he realized like this is the woman I want to spend my life with.
He said, quote, gosh, I can't live without her. They've been married for 38 years.
He's got wearing this big white hat, and he's got this just soft sweet face.
He says, I'm thankful for you and for who you are and that you served our country and that you got back safe and sound.
And then he started to tear up.
Oh.
And he was like, I love you. And hearing like a countryman, hearing two countrymen say that they love each other is maybe the best like words that could be talked by people.
All of a sudden, Luke's stoicism seemed like just like stoicism,
It's not like
cold.
boring. It's not him being boring and like not interesting. It's that he's like this like stoic ass Texas dude, like his dad. Like, oh my God, everything kind of clicked all at once. This dad was primo.
Yeah, like one of those dads.
Meeting him attracted me very bad.
They don't make dads like that anymore.
They just don't make them like this anymore.
Yeah.
They have a nice picnic, play some bagos. Or as we say, corn in the den. Haze in the barn
Can I
is
tell
what we call
you,
it down here.
I never heard it called bagos until I met you. It sounds made up to me.
I think it might just be... I think Chicago is where they call them bagos. There's like a place in the Midwest they call them bagos, and once I found out that somebody called them bagos, it became exclusively the only thing I called them.
Okay, because they don't say it.
You know why?
No.
Cornhole is so blue.
I know, I don't like it either.
Bagos isn't great, but it's certainly better than cornhole, which is essentially asshole, the game. Butthole. Let's go play butthole. Bags in the butthole. Ugh.
Pigs in the castle.
Pigs in the castle. Man, what a good dad. So things wind down. He says he's got one more surprise for her.
Yeah, they get on horses. Becomes another horse date. This little dog follows them out on the trail.
It's a good dog, too.
It's a real good dog.
I think it's the dad is some sort of wood elf who can take on the form of a familiar. Do you think maybe?
Oh, probably.
A lot of wood elves in the behind the pine curtain. That's to the east of us, isn't it? Damn it.
Okay.
I've lived in Texas for like 4 years. I don't know fuck all about it.
5 years.
5 years, dang.
Almost. 5
Yeah.
years this month.
Yikes. I just don't know anything about it.
What's a big state?
Yeah.
So they go out into this arrangement of hay bales that's been fashioned like a couch, and there's like pillows and a blanket on it.
And maybe the prettiest sunset I've ever seen.
Yeah. And he says things like, I'm sitting in front of someone I'm falling for. I want this future. I want us. And there's a sunset, and she cries a little bit and says, having to leave you makes me so sad. It's just overwhelming. And then there's another location.
A third location.
There's flowers arranged into a heart, and there's candles, and then they play some song that I guess is by Dan and Shay that was also played on an earlier date. We did a lot of research.
We did
on
a lot
that.
of Googling. It's a weird... I have one more thing to show you. Look, I made a little heart in the ground. I gotta lay the flowers out and it makes a heart. Are you gonna tell me you love me? No, I am
Nope.
not.
Yeah, he doesn't say it.
There's flowers on the ground, though, and they make a shape. And if you look over there, I made a star. And then,
And then
here's a horseshoe.
the music swells, and it just occurred to me in that moment, nobody else got music. Why is Luke getting music?
Because he's gonna win the Bachelorette.
We thought at first that this was Luke singing.
This date was like the most interesting date Luke's had. It's the most character Luke has had. I like everybody in the room. Like you went around and it was just like, who you rooting for now? Luke. It was a good sales pitch for Luke, who will win the Bachelorette because Jordan won't, and Jordan will become the next Bachelor.
Yeah, but that all comes into question in a few minutes.
This next fucking scene, I've been pondering since we walked back over to our house, and like I literally can't. Like,
I know, I'm gonna think about it.
I'm not gonna think about it. I'm gonna like fuss over it because I thought it was so fucking stupid.
So it's rose ceremony time. We're in an airplane hangar. There's a suggestion that the final contestants will get on that plane and fly off to their next destination. But everybody's all dressed up. They're in their suits, and JoJo's really nervous, and she's telling us, the viewer, that she's sick to her stomach, and she's crying a little bit, and she says, I have these 4 great guys, and it's really hard for me to decide. And then she says, and I think I need to say goodbye to Luke.
She says, I think I know what I need to do. I think I'm going to say goodbye to Luke. Which is like, put a pin in that, okay? And think about how fucking bonkers that is for them to say before a rose ceremony. Like, usually if this happens, they excuse them before the rose ceremony, right? If they've made up their mind, they tell the camera, then that person's gone. They just send them home before the rose ceremony. It's not what this was. This is there at the rose ceremony, and right before she hands out the rose, she says who she's going to kick off. Okay, we know, like, okay, then Luke's not going home, right? And sure enough, Luke stops her and grabs her before she starts handing out the roses.
Yeah, Luke interrupts the rose ceremony, and Jordan's kind of peeved about it. He's like, you had all day.
You had a whole day. Something didn't go exactly perfectly my way.
And then Luke says, I want to be sure that you know where I stand. My heart is yours. And when you left, and this is a callback to what his dad says, like, when you left, I've been thinking about you and thinking about us, and I'm in love with you, and it's been the only thing on my mind. And JoJo says, I've been wanting to hear this from you. Thank you for telling me that. And then she exits the conversation, walks out into the runway, and just seems to start freaking out. Like, what am I going to do? I feel sick to my stomach.
Okay, and then to be continued. No,
Continued.
Let's talk about the 2 possibilities that this scene sets up for
Okay.
us. Okay. The first possibility, I mean, it's not the possibility. This is what fucking happened, because they don't shoot those in the moment interviews where she, like the one where she said she's going to send Luke home, until after the thing has already happened. That's just how linear time works and how production works, right? Like, it has to be. Because, like, why else would they say it? Why else would she say it, which has never happened before, without knowing that, like, something was about to happen that would undo the whole thing, right? That's phony, baloney, fake bullshit. It's not like she shot that ahead of time and said, I'm going to send Luke home tonight. And then Luke says, I love you to her. And she says, well, dang. What happened was Luke said, I love you to her. And then they folded in this whole thing of, well, I was going to send Luke home, but I don't know. But if that's the case, then the only reason she was going to send Luke home was because he hadn't said I love you to her.
Yeah,
and if that's the criteria,
that's
what the
ridiculous.
fuck are any of them doing there?
Yeah.
Is it just like he's the easy one to send home because he didn't say the password that you need to stay on the show?
So wait, you said there were 2 scenarios. Did you list both of them?
I think it was actually maybe one scenario.
Okay.
Because it has to be that Luke does this surprise I love you, and then they artificially create this drama where she was going to send him home, but now that he said the magic words, then...
No, you're right. For the cliffhanger.
It's so fucking stupid. And it's the laziest, right? It's so lazy.
Yeah, so we find out next week is going to be a 2-night, what do they call those things? Like a 2-night festival of
Waste of
roses.
time.
Yeah, I don't know. Monday night is going to be an actual episode, and then Tuesday is going to be the Men Tell All. And just as a reminder, Men Tell All is when all the contestants come back and they air their grievances.
They tell
on
all
a
the
live,
things. It's going to be very
live
uncomfortable.
TV show type format
So
with
our
an
next
audience.
our next episode will be a day late because we're going to watch both things. I just want to like elocute my problem with this episode, with the ending of this episode. I would rather have a boring episode. Like, I would rather have a boring, straightforward, just like send home Chase, send home Robbie, whatever. Send home Luke even. But this, like, this show is getting worse about this. Where it's just like every episode
About the
has to have
cliffhanger?
every fucking episode, not even a cliffhanger. Every episode has to have this big shocking moment, which I guess is like maybe good because like then at least something happens in each episode and it's not completely boring. But when they whiff it like they did on this episode, I feel like fucking insulted. Like I don't usually feel bad that this show is constantly talking down to me, but like this is the worst I think it's been all season.
Well, and you know what I think has made us a little bitter too is that every season they try and build up this big conflict. Like the Bachelor or Bachelorette is never certain who they're going to pick until the very last minute.
Last season was the first season where they fucking nailed it. Where they fucking killed it. It was such a good
Ben
season.
gave
and such
that
a good...
to them.
Ben gave that to them. I don't care who does it. Like they got it. They got it on the camera and it was very, very good. This season, they don't got it. They super duper don't got it. And not only that, they had these conflicting narratives of like everybody. They had this huge swing episode for Luke, and everybody's rooting for Luke. And now all of a sudden he was like this weird sacrificial lamb. And like, how do you as an audience, how are you supposed to root for Luke knowing that she was about to send him home? But then he said, "I love you," and it's like, well, you said you said those 3 words.
That's
and
unfair.
We're all idiots here, so
That's unfair to her and Luke of just being like, oh, you were reduced to this like 10 seconds here on the runway.
because that makes me think like anybody could have gone if Jordan hadn't said "I love you" up to this point. Well, you didn't say it. I don't care how well we get along and how much chemistry we have with you, because I'm certain all 4 of them don't have equal amounts of chemistry. But it's just like, oh, you didn't say the love word.
Well, yeah,
so.
and meanwhile, JoJo has never given us, the viewer, any reason to think that was super important to her. You know, like she wanted them to be open and share their feelings, but she never was like, I'm really waiting on Luke to say those L words.
This show has formulas, and those formulas are immutable. And one of those formulas is, when do I say I love you to the person, right? And I feel like when those formulas are like way too obvious, like they were tonight, like the words "I love you" can be a ticket to stay on this show unless you're Alex. And this tonight was just like, it was just such a flagrant. I don't know. It was so stupid. Like, I already didn't really care about any of these relationships, and now it's just we're just playing Calvin ball out there.
So who do you think goes home?
I think Robbie goes home.
Okay.
I think Robbie goes home. I think Chase goes home next. I think Luke wins it. I think Jordan's the next Bachelor. It is the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I don't know if she's going to send Robbie home because of the ex-girlfriend thing. I know it's going to seem like that. But Yeah, if she hasn't gotten rid of Chase yet, I don't know what about this week would have made her want to get rid of him. Like, they just continue to be at the exact same place, and she seems to be
I would
okay
say I
with
would
it.
switch Chase and Robbie in the order if she hadn't told Robbie's mom that she was like falling in love with him. That's bonkers.
Yeah.
Love-hate relationship with this show sometimes. I feel like it's been a great season, and I knew that the highs were going to be high and that the lows were going to be low, and this was a low for me.
Yeah, I do have sympathy for the show, just in that Chad gave them so much easy material, and now they're almost rusty in how they put together an episode, it seems like.
Well, they don't, but at this point, you got to have that romance, right? You got to have romance at this point. Like, last season, I thought Ben and JoJo were cute together. And that's like, it's almost nothing, but it's like enough. And I thought, like, him and Lauren B were cute together. And so, like, part of me, you got to have that element to it, as stupid and silly as it sounds. Like, as funny as, we're having a lot of fun here, folks, but, like, that is a genuinely important element to this show.
Yeah,
and anybody
for
who
sure.
says otherwise is lying to try and sound cool and cynical.
Yeah, like, you can play the fantasy game like we do, where you're trying to get points, but
But in
ultimately,
your heart of hearts, you have a favorite relationship on the show.
you have a story you like.
And there isn't one. And the only one, and this, what pisses me off is that this episode, they started to make one with Luke, and then they fucking burned it with this stupid, completely artificial conflict in the last scene. So dumb.
Yeah. So that was this week.
Next week again, two-parter.
So our show will go up on Wednesday.
Yes. Yes. I'm from Barnet.
Hey guys, thanks to everybody in Boston that came up to me and Griffin and talked about how much they like Rose Buddies.
Yeah, that was really sweet and really nice. We need to check the P.O. box. We should do that on show days so we know how to thank people.
Yes.
Thank you all for all the things you sent us. Again, it's P.O. Box 66639, Austin, Texas 78766. Thanks to everybody who's been leaving a review on iTunes and talking about the show on Twitter, and everybody in the Facebook group. Holy shit, like today, like 1 hour into the episode, Rachel checked the Facebook group, and the live Facebook thread had like 600 comments on it.
Like almost 700.
It was bonkers.
Yeah, I don't even know where it's at now.
The Rose Buddies Facebook group is popping off constantly. It's a great place to be.
Thank you for listening to Rose Buddies. I'm Rachel McElroy.
I'm Griffin McElroy.
When you're ready.
Final rose. Stay with us on this journey of joy.
Spoiler alert.
She ends up with Soldier Boy.
Right reasons, right reasons.